Right now, we have large fossil fuel generation happening in single places. Lots of transmission lines then transmit to places where people live, and they turn to distribution lines, and they'll go into your house. That's okay, but it's been okay for a while. But it's not okay anymore because it means there's very little resiliency in the grid. Obviously, there's a fossil fuel issue there, and it's expensive because you have to transmit all this energy for a really long distance. The key bit that we see here is that the energy ultimately will be created and used locally, but it's not like you've got an independent grid that's like 10 houses that's not connected to anyone else. That is not a safe or secure system. We have a virtual mini grid. That's what IOEN runs, is virtual mini grid of these 10 houses working. And for most of the time, those 10 houses are just going to trade with each other, and they'll feel it out to each other. Maybe there's a battery at the end of the road, but every now and then they're going to have to pull more energy from the external grid. That's totally fine because there's another 10 houses over here who definitely don't need it that time, and they send it over here. And so ultimately, you've got this flow of energy between these places, which is being balanced by these tiny devices at the edge, which are moving up and down in real time to balance out the grid and enable that grid to work in that way. And then, of course, the network providers who are doing this, they see where the future is going. They understand that distributed energy resources, solar on your roof and wind farms are all going to be feeding into the grid, but it's a management issue of how that is going to be organized and managed. So ultimately, if we can make the energy, generate the energy and use the energy as low as possible, we're going to be in a much more secure system. And what that means, if one of those grids goes down or a big transmission line gets cut, you don't lose energy for the rest of it. That's the future we see.